Hello and welcome to a brand new deep dive from the Heavy Blend. We are so glad to have you with us today.
It's great to be here.
Now, before we jump into the music, and believe me, there's a lot to get through today, we should probably set the stage. For anyone new, it's worth explaining what we're all about.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So the Heavy Blend is an independent project born right here in Italy.
And our mission, well, is to offer a really in-depth overview of rock and heavy metal albums. We do that by pulling together a whole bunch of public sources from the specialized press.
Right. Our team selects all these reviews and articles, and then we rework them using the latest AI tools to help us, synthesize all that information.
And this is a really important point, while we use that tech to process everything, the heart of the show is 100% human.
Oh, absolutely.
The selection of sources, the prompt engineering, all the social media, the video editing, that's all done by real people with, a genuine passion and experience in this music.
The AI is the engine, but we're the ones steering the car.
Exactly. And speaking of the music, the Heavy Blend isn't just about the giants. We really want to promote emerging bands, too.
As long as there's a good number of authoritative reviews out there for us to sink our teeth into, yeah.
But today we are definitely dealing with a giant.
A titan of Teutonic thrash, you could say.
You know it. We are diving into the German legends, Kreator, and their 16th studio album, Krushers of the World. It just dropped mid-January 2026.
And this one is divisive.
Oh, is it ever? Our mission today is to sift through this pile of really conflicting reviews. I mean, we've got everything from glowing praise to some pretty harsh disappointment.
So the big question is this thing a modern thrash masterpiece, or is it, a melodic misstep?
Let's find out. I mean, where do you even start with a band like this?
Well, the context is key, right? Kreator is 40 years into their career. Just think about that. 4 decades. This is the follow-up to Hate Über Alles, which was 4 years ago. And the band that made Pleasure to Kill back in the day is just... It's a completely different entity from the band we have now.
And that's the thing, isn't it? They haven't just been playing the same riffs since 1986. They've evolved.
Massively, especially since, the early 2000s? Around Violent Revolution, and then really cementing it with albums like Phantom Antichrist.
They went from that raw, almost chaotic 80s thrash
to something way more melodic, way more technical, very precise. And that's the core of the debate around Krushers of the World. Has that polish started to, suffocate the spirit?
Well, let's start with the first thing you see, the cover art. It's done by Zbigniew Bielak,
who's huge right now, does all the stuff for Ghosts.
Exactly. And there's a little detail in the artwork that a few of the sources picked up on. The font.
Ah, yes, the lettering.
It looks just like the old Pleasure to Kill logo. It's that classic, jagged, old-school thrash font.
And that is not an accident. Both True Metal and Metalitalia pointed this out. They called it a deliberate Easter egg. It's a wink to the past.
It's a promise, in a way.
Yeah.
It's setting an expectation.
It is. You're showing the listener a picture of 1986. And that creates a tension, right? Because if the music doesn't match that visual promise of old school violence.
And you've got a problem. You're going to split your audience right down the middle.
And that is exactly what happened here. Let's get into the sound, because that's where the fight really is. The big point of contention across all the reviews is this balance between aggression and melody.
Or imbalance, depending on who you ask.
Right. Sources like Metalized and Heavy Metal Webzine say that this melodic element, the twin guitars, the big choruses, it's been growing for 25 years. It's just part of their DNA now.
It's not an experiment anymore. It's who Kreator is in 2026.
But for some, that's the issue. Let's look the opener, Seven Serpents.
Okay. A standard opener, as some called it.
Heavy Metal Webzine called it a shotgun blast. But they also asked a pretty tough question.
Which was,
why does this sound so much like something off of Phantom Antichrist? They said they almost felt like skipping it because it was so familiar.
Wow, deja vu on track 1. That's not a great start.
But then you have True Metal, who had a totally different take. They loved the atmospheric intro, the melodic guitar line. They thought it was a great way to ease into the album.
And on the other end of the spectrum,
Metalitalia just dismissed it. They called it Sialba, which is basically dull, insipid. They said the main riff was banal.
So on the very first song, we have everything from great opener to repetitive bore.
It just shows how polarized the reaction is. And it gets even wilder on the next track, Satanic Anarchy.
Ah, yes. This song, I think this might be the perfect example of the whole album's identity crisis.
It really is. On the one hand, you have heavy metal webzine who loved it. They pointed out the extremely low tuning, which is a new thing for Kreator.
Right, it gives it that super heavy, almost death metal kind of feel.
Exactly, a real modern sound. Metal. And it even said the main riff gave them that positive reaction face you see on YouTube.
The stank face.
The stank face. The one you make when a riff is just disgustingly good. But then the chorus hits, and for a lot of people, that's where it all falls apart.
This is the sticking point, isn't it?
It is. Metalhead called the transition from that furious riff to the chorus refinement commercial. Slyly commercial.
It turned into a power metal song.
That's what they said. And metal, it was even harsher. They called the chorus borderline embarrassing.
Borderline embarrassing. For a band like Kreator, that's a brutal comment.
It goes back to that expectation gap. If you're braced for Coma of Souls and you get a chorus that sounds like it could be on a Halloween record,
it's going to be a shock to the system.
It's
tonal whiplash.
Exactly.
You know, speaking of reactions and community, before we dig into the more cinematic side of this album, I just want to pause for a second.
Yeah, definitely.
We have to do a quick community check-in and just say a massive thank you to you, the listener. The feedback the heavy blend has been getting from the public, from the press, even from bands, it's been incredible.
It really, really has. It validates all the work our team puts in. We do this because we love the music, and seeing that our deep dive format resonates with you all is, well, it's the best part of doing this.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, back to the record. You said cinematic influences.
Right. There's one track that really stands out from the rest. Tränenpalast.
Which means Palace of Tears.
And it's a tribute to the Italian horror director Dario Argento, specifically his film Suspiria.
Mill is a huge film buff, so that makes sense.
And it has a guest spot from Britta Gertz of Hyres. It's trying to be this eerie 70s Prague horror thing.
Here, did it work?
Well, the critics are split again. Surprise, surprise. Heavy Metal Maniac loved it. They called it Koopa and intimate, dark and intimate. They felt it captured that Argento vibe perfectly.
Okay, so that's a win.
But wait, Metalitalia was completely unimpressed. They said the guitars sounded cheerful instead of scary.
Cheerful? In a horror tribute?
Yep, and they said the solo sounded like a Blind Guardian reject.
Ouch. So one person's dark and intimate is another's cheerful reject. How is that even possible?
It might come down to the production. Modern metal production is so clean, so polished, that creating a genuinely gritty, scary atmosphere is really hard. If it's too clean, the horror can feel theatrical, not unsettling.
That makes sense. Speaking of theatrical, let's talk about the big anthems, the title track, Krushers of the World.
The big statement piece.
Heavy Metal Maniac saw it as this powerful declaration of identity, you know, crushing obstacles.
Yeah.
But Heavy Metal Webzine just called it banalata. A bit banal, repetitive.
It's what I call the festival problem. You write a song for 50,000 people in a field to shout along to. It has to be simple, but simple can sound banal on headphones.
That's a great point. And then there's Loyal to the Grave. Metalized said this might be the most melodic song in their entire history.
Which is saying a lot.
And Metalhead even compared it to Manowar or Iron Maiden.
Which is fine if that's what you want from Kreator. But is it thrash? That's the question that keeps coming up. Metalitalia called the keyboards tacky. They just felt these songs are made for live shows, not for deep listening.
Which brings us to the final verdict. Is this whole thing a sign of maturity, or have they just settled into a formula? The production have to be part of that conversation.
The huge part. Jens Bogren produced it. The guy is a legend, but he's known for a very clean, punchy, almost hyper-defined sound.
And some critics love that, right? Heavy Metal Maniac said it balanced power and definition.
They did, but Metalitalia argued that it sounded plastic, formal, technically perfect maybe, but inoffensive. And when you smooth out all the rough edges, you lose the danger. It sounds safe.
So let's look at the final scores, because the range here is just, it's wild.
It is. On the high end, you've got Heavy Metal Maniac giving it a 90 out of 100.
That's an A. That's an Album of the Year contender score.
They see it as hurling tradition forward. Then you have Metalis, who saw it as the band consolidating a formula that works. For them, that consistency is a good thing.
But then the scores just fall off a cliff.
They really do. Metalitalia gave it a 55 out of 100. That's a failing grade for a band this big. They called it an album of pop structures on a thrash bass.
Pop structures.
That's like
a sting.
And then there's Metal.E, a brutal 5 out of 10.
half marks.
They called it a photocopy made badly and said they don't even recognize the band anymore.
A photocopy made badly. Wow, that implies it's not just the same, but worse. Like the ink is running out.
And that all ties back into that comfort zone argument, the idea that they're just doing copy-paste songwriting, they have a template, and they're sticking to it.
So is it a trap, this formula? Or is it what Metallis called artisanal precision?
And that's the whole debate in a nutshell, isn't it? Is it a master craftsman perfecting their chair, or is it an assembly line? For critics like Metal.it, that refinement has stripped away the soul. The band is safe. And in thrash metal, safe is the dirtiest word there is.
So when we put all this together, all these conflicting voices, what does it actually mean for someone thinking of buying this album?
I think the conclusion is actually pretty clear, despite the different scores. Every review, good or bad, is describing the same album.
Right. There's no confusion about what it is.
Exactly. Krushers of the World is a professionally made record that doubles down on the melodic era of Kreator. If you loved Gods of Violence or Phantom Antichrist, the sources all suggest you are probably going to enjoy this. It's consistent with that sound.
It's more of what you already like.
But if you're still waiting for the raw aggression of Coma of Souls or that weird experimentation from the 90s...
This is not that album.
Not even close. It's going to feel like a safe, commercially minded product. It just won't scratch that particular itch. It's too clean, too polished.
That seems like a really fair summary. It all depends on which Kreator you're a fan of, the 1980s version or the 2020s version.
They're two different beasts at this point.
So now we want to turn it over to you. We've gone through what the critics think, but your opinion is the one we really want to hear. We've got 3 questions for you to answer in the comments.
Question 1. Do you prefer the old-school violent Kreator, or do you enjoy this modern, melodic, power thrash version? Is the melody a step forward or a betrayal?
Question 2. Is consistency for a band that's been around for 40 years a virtue, or does it just sound like they're copying themselves? Where's the line between a signature sound and a stale formula?
And finally, number 3. What did you think of that Dario Argento tribute, Tren and Palast? Did the atmosphere work for you, or did it totally fall flat?
We seriously can't wait to read what you think. And hey, if you found this deep dive interesting or helpful, please consider sharing it.
And we really want to be clear about this. For us, sharing a passion between people is so much more important than the number of subscribers on a YouTube channel. It's all about the conversation. It's about the community. Thank you so much for tuning into The Heavy Blend. Keep it loud.
See you next time.